Speaking of my Cowboys, before I get to my main thrust of this topic, so many people said that game against the Giants was the most entertaining game of the year. So far, it's early, but top 5, a lot of people told me, of most entertaining games they've ever watched because so many points got scored in the fourth quarter. And I laughed to myself because for me, lifelong diehard Cowboy fan with my pride on my sleeve and on the line, publicly, nationally over this team, that was as painful a game as I ever watched, as I've ever watched the Dallas Cowboys play, where I have my strongest rooting interest. My one with Oklahoma and Vanderbilt is high, but it's not quite like this. So the fourth quarter for me was just excruciating. It was just torture. It was just punishment. Seriously, it just ripped me apart. I was wrung out and exhausted after that game because I thought we had lost it 15 times. And I loved that we just won the game. That's what I kept saying. We won. All I care about is we won the game that we would have lost last year. I think we won it for the new coach. I think they really like playing for that coach. And I loved the locker room scene after the game. I got to see, they showed the video on one of the networks. I forget which one. New young coach Schottenheimer, Brian Schottenheimer, is reading off a checklist of achievements in the game. We did this. Yeah, we did this. Yeah. And the team seemed really into the yeah of it. CD seemed really into the yeah. I think they bought into the new coach. I think they like winning for and playing hard for the new coach. Obviously, there are all kinds of problems on defense. Eberflus, former Bears coach. I don't know. I thought they understood his zone defense, and then it just got absolutely shredded by Russell Wilson. They turned back his clock 10 years. He threw the football as well as I've ever seen him, including his glory days in Seattle. He was just flawless until finally in overtime. Late in overtime, he made one mistake, one for the whole game, and we capitalized. But the reason we won the game was the reason that I now proudly wear a number 17 jersey. Who in their right mind has ever purchased the jersey of his kicker? If he loves a team, maybe New England back in the day, Adam Vinatieri, the greatest clutch kicker ever. Okay, I got that. But even then, we've got Brady and the revolving door of stars that you had all through the dynastic years, all the way up to Gronk and Edelman, obviously, on and on. When you've got all that, you're going to buy those jerseys. You're not going to buy Adam Vinatieri's jersey. And a year ago, if you might remember, before, not this season, but last season, I bought a number 17 and wear it proudly because it's my kicker's jersey number. My kicker is Brandon Aubrey, and I am not exaggerating, embellishing. I'm not laying it on any too thick when I tell you he's the greatest kicker ever. I know he hasn't kicked that much in the clutch yet, but every time he's been tested, he has come through. And did he ever come through Sunday at home, a game in which, if you watched, we won because of him. He is the ultimate nuclear weapon in pro football. And I call him the greatest kicker ever because he has the greatest leg ever. He is effortless from 70 yards away. He is revolutionizing kicking. And so I'm here to explain to you, because those who've been with me for a while, and I love and bless all of you. Thank you very much. You know how much I hate kicking, as in place kicking in football. I just hate it. I have from the start. There's a game, I can't remember which year it was. I think it was 84. You could look this up. I was covering for the Dallas Times-Herald, a Cowboy game that they lost in New Orleans on a Monday night. You could look this up. It could have been 83, but I'm pretty sure it was 84. Went to the wire. What was his name? Roger Ruzek was the kicker, and he missed at the buzzer. And that's when it occurred to me, I watched these valiant, mighty warriors, gifted pro football players, battle it out for 59 minutes and 59 seconds. And a little former soccer player who can't play football, has no place, no business on a football team, could never make the football team at any position, trots onto the turf and decides the game. And as I recall the lead to my column, if a Martian dropped out of the sky and into the stands one night and was sitting next to you watching the game, obviously the Martian's first ever NFL game, and he got to the end and he watched the little kicker miss, and you said to the Martian, "What'd you think of the game?" He said, "Well, it came down to that little guy who kicks the ball." And you'd say, "Well, that's just the kicker." And he'd say, no, that's the guy who obviously makes the most money of anybody on the field. That's the most important player on the field, is that guy who missed that kick at the end. Because the field goal, counting three, is so overvalued that it tilts the scoreboard. Because if you get 4 chances, 5 chances in a game, if you make all 5, including a late one, you're probably going to win the game. It's a lot of points, 15 points. And it's so gimmicky as the most crucial part of our greatest game. Listen, I love the NBA, but again, the national pastime has gone from baseball to pro football and college football. I'll give you that. It's football is our national pastime. And yet football revolves around kicking an oblong ball off the ground up through these 2 weird uprights that it's almost like some corny, lame game show that somebody invented, and that's how it ends. What? You're going to decide the game that way? So I advocated from the start, dating back to that game in New Orleans on that Monday night, just abolish it. Just do away with it. It'd be a much better game. Maybe not much better, because I know people love I've always said about field goal kicking, you love it for all the wrong reasons, because it's such a roller coaster ride, because it's so silly, and kickers are so prone to going mentally south, psychologically south, that especially on last second kicks, they're just going to miss. Koo missed the one against, as I talked about, Baker and Company on opening day, or was that night? Opening day. And then last night, it looked like Tampa had blown the game because their kicker, what's his name, McLaughlin, misses a 38-yarder. A 38-yarder, and it could have been icing on the cake, and all of a sudden the gate is open, and CJ and Company ran through it. They win and lose so many games that it's mind-blowing to me that you don't just abolish that part and just say, I want to see the offense. I want to see Dak and CD and Pickens make plays. Dak to pick, as Schottenheimer said in the locker room, Dak to pick. I want to see that. I want to see Baker make plays for first downs every 4th down. I want to see you go down the field and you have to get it in the end zone. Well, if that were the rule, my Cowboys would have lost on Sunday, right? But the point is, if you get down there and score, then you don't need to kick an extra point from like 45 yards away because it became so routine. You just keep pushing it back. You just go for two every time. You need punters because that's a different skill set. That's more strategic, kicking to the coffin corner, trying to kick it out on the 4, 5, 6 yard line, trying to pin the team inside the 10. You have to catch a snap. Punters are always better athletes than kickers because they have to be able to catch a pretty deep snap on the fly. You got to have, be part receiver. And then the motion is much more athletic. It's not a soccer kick. It's a punt where you have to have a rhythm and you have to get it away before it gets blocked. And it's just a whole different skill set. And I love and respect punters. They're a very crucial strategic part of football. Do you punt or go for it? Well, when it's time to go for it, you don't go for a field goal from 70 yards. I mean, that's making the game even sillier. But here's my point of this whole discussion, and I've said this from the start, and I wrote this that next day in my column in the Dallas Times-Herald way back when. What was that? 17, 25, 40 some, whatever. It's forever ago. But I planted my flag early on this. Here's what I said. FanDuel's getting you ready for the NFL season with an offer you won't want to miss. New customers can bet just $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if you win. That's right. Pick a bet $5. If it wins, you will unlock $300 in bonus bets to use all across the app. You can build parlays, you can bet player props, you can ride the live lines, whatever your style, FanDuel has you covered. The NFL season is here. I don't know if you've noticed, but it's on top of us, and the games just get greater and greater, more and more exciting. The only question is, are you ready to play? I mean, play yourself. Visit FanDuel.com/skip. Use my first name, SKIP, to download the FanDuel app today and get started. FanDuel.com/skip, SKIP. I hate place kicking. I hate the rules, but I will never, ever change the rules. They are grandfathered in. The game is too popular. Nobody ever, at least in my lifetime, will ever change that rule. Kicking will never be abolished. So there's only one way out of this. If I owned an NFL team, I would spend all the money I possibly could to find the greatest kicker ever because they are crucially important to making or breaking entire football seasons. 4 or 5 games, you just know, if you're a pretty good team wanting to be very good, 4 or 5 games are going to come down to a place kick. Make them, and happy days are here again. Miss them, and it's devastation. It's darkness. It's what happened to us. The coaches on the hot seat. The quarterback's under fire. Can we find another quarterback? No, maybe you better find another kicker because they're a dime a dozen to most owners, including Jerry Jones for the most part. You just cycle them in and cycle them out, and they go musical chairs around the league, and what goes around comes back around, and you start over with another one, and you got another, he's over there and he's over here, and you can't keep up with them. And one thing I've learned, once they go south, you can't fix them. You have to go find the most physically gifted and mentally toughest kicker on the planet, and you have to invest in him and his coach. There's a coach back in the glory days of the 90s Cowboys documentary on Netflix. If you've missed it, you got to check it out, called America's Team, The Gambler and His Cowboys, about Jerry and the 90s dynasty. They had a kicking coach by the name of Steve Hoffman, and he was just the best. And that's important. And Jerry did invest in Steve Hoffman because Jimmy told him, we got to have him. He'd been with Jimmy in Miami, went way back. Just crucial to the franchise because he can right the wrong in a kicker's head. He can talk the kicker off the ledge and talk his demons over the edge and down back into the abyss. But Jerry stumbled in to Brandon Aubrey. Brandon Aubrey, they told the story the other day on the telecast. He was a pro soccer player, played soccer at Notre Dame. Wound up, he's an engineer. He's going into engineering, sitting on the couch one night watching a game, and of course a kicker missed another big kick to win the game, lost the game. His wife said to him, well, you could do that. You could miss that. You're at least as good as that guy. And he said, yeah, you're right. Ends up going down to the local high school, kicks a few, made one from 60 and said, yeah, I should pursue this. USFL, he was very good, but he wasn't this. I don't know exactly who tipped Jerry or Will McClay, but some of their bird dogs, one of their scouts, let's bring him in, let's give him a shot. And I believe the rest is history. Now, could he go psychologically south tomorrow? Yes, they all do eventually. But in my life, I have never seen a kicker more effortlessly make kicks from 70 yards away. This was a 64-yarder that tied the game, sent it to overtime, but it would easily have been good from 70. And I don't think he hit it all that great. When he first hit it, I thought he had sliced it a bit. It seemed like it was starting to take off to the right, and then it straightened a little bit, and then it actually reversed spin, and it looked like it had, in the end, a little bit of hook, game-saving hook, that got it within the right upright from 64, and it would have been good from 70, because the power in that leg is nuclear. I've never seen anything like it before. And obviously, kickers are making them farther and farther. I saw a stat from my friend Jay Feely the other day about, there have already been X kicks this year over 60, 4 yards? But there have been X, and in the history of kicking before this year, there'd been that many. So you're seeing it being revolutionized right before your very eyes. But in case you're firing back at me right now, I get it that other teams have tried to go ahead and invest in drafting a kicker, and it inevitably blows up in their face, because the 49ers took Jake Moody in the third round. Kaboom, he's gone south and he's gone. And that Aguayo went in the second round, no, bust. Cade York, I thought he was going to be really good out of LSU. Fourth round, Carolina. He won the Carolina game. It was Baker's first game. And then he lost it. I can't explain it, because they're inexplicable human beings, these kickers. So I don't have the logical approach to this. I'm just trying to explain to you that if I owned a team, as much as I hate the rule, it's the rule. It allows you to kick for 3 points from any distance at any time. I mean, at the rate we're going, if the evolution continues, someday somebody will be making a 100-yard field goal, and it'll make a joke out of the game. They're going to have to do something different. They're going to have to move, close the uprights a little bit. Maybe boost them up in the air a little bit. You're going to have to change. It's like the height of the rim in basketball. How are you going to do this? Because what was hilarious to me, excruciatingly hilarious, was the throw of the game the other night was Dak at the end of regulation. He makes a throw. This is 14 seconds left in regulation, and he makes a throw to Jake Ferguson right up the middle. He just sort of turned in the middle of the zone. If you don't make this throw, you lose. way to go, Dak. That was clutch. I don't love Dak in the postseason, but I do love him often in the regular season. And he makes a throw to Jake Ferguson that is just money for 18 yards, and it gets it to the 49 of the Cowboys. And yet I'm trying to do the math, and I'm thinking, wait a second, that's like a 67-yard field. It's going to be like the record NFL field goal. And then I'm thinking, well, I've got nuclear. I got Brandon Aubrey. I got 17. I'm wearing my jersey. I got 17. And you would think that the team would say, hurry, we got to go. Time's ticking down. We need 10 more yards to get something that we really trust that we can make. Let's throw it one more time. And what do? They give it to Javonte Williams up the gut and just eat the rest of the clock because they don't really care. They're just positioning the ball where Brandon Aubrey wants it in the field. They're doing what you would do on a chip shot down at the 10-yard line. They're just trying to position I'm like, what? It has come to this. That's how good this young man is. This is what a life-changing weapon he is, that you're just saying, well, we're already in range. It's, whatever it is, 67, 64, doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. So they get 3 more yards to get the ball where he likes it. And kaboom, 64 yards, good. So there's no sweat. There's no fret. There's no tension to it at all. I was, for the first time in the game, I was serene for the first time because I've got the best player on my team at his position is ready to do what he does. He doesn't do it very often, but when it's his time and his turn, I got that. Right now, Brandon Aubrey is better at his job than CD is at his, or Dak is at his, or Pick is at his, or name somebody on defense. I can't at this moment is better than he is at his. Anybody on defense, he's the best player on the team. Saw a quote on social media the other day, Brandon Aubrey for MVP. Well, you laugh. Oh yeah, crazy. But if they can hang in and hang on and get him in position to win games even from 70 yards away, you might just have a case for him being MVP. It'll never happen because kickers, most people, they sort of grow up hearing that kickers are just interchangeable. They're irrelevant to the process. No, they're it. If you have Adam Vinatieri, he can actually make the dynasty. He can cement it with his foot. He didn't have anywhere near the leg of Brandon Aubrey, but he didn't make that one from 49. Now it seems like a chip shot, but from 49 to win the first Super Bowl against the then, St. Louis Rams. He made that from 49 yards at the buzzer to win Brady his first one. And he made those kicks in the snow. I was there. Snow job game, as I called it, the tuck rule game. I don't know how he made those kicks in the snow. It was just unbelievable. They weren't cross-country kicks, intergalactic kicks, but he did that. And a lot of people say, well, he was the reason they won those championships, not so much Brady. Well, in the end, it was Brady because he had the first 6 Super Bowls. He had game-winning drives in fourth quarter overtime in all 6. So stop that. But he did get a lot of help from a co-star, a co-MVP, you can make a case, in Adam Vinatieri. And now I've got an Adam Vinatieri with a thunderfoot. Well, it's gold. I got a chance. I will sleep better this coming Saturday night going into Sunday because of Brandon Aubrey. I will sleep in my number 17 jersey on Saturday night because it makes me sleep better knowing I have Brandon Aubrey and nobody else has Brandon Aubrey. So in the end, just so you understand my position on this, thank you, Jerry Jones, for doing one right thing. By hook or crook or however, if he fell into your lap out of heaven, you got us and you have signed us up for the duration with Brandon Aubrey, the greatest kicker ever. And that means we have a chance in every game because of 17. And I proudly wear the jersey of my kicker, and I can't believe I'm saying that.